Welcome back to my channel. I'm Neil Chase, author of the horror novel Iron Dogs and writer-director of the supernatural thriller film Spin the Wheel. And what I want to talk about with you today is a question I get asked more than you might think. People ask me, why do you do it? Why do you write? Why do you make movies? And why do you share so much of what you've learned? Well, when it comes to writing and filmmaking, the answer is simple. I do it because I love it. There's a need within me to create new stories and share them with the world. It's really that simple. And as for sharing my knowledge, it's basically the same thing, even when I'm doing it for free. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm opposed to making money. Far from it. My goal has always been to make a living from doing these things. As any writer and filmmaker worth their salt knows, though, is that we're not typically the best paid or even paid enough for our work. We tend to do what we do out of love and a passion for the things we create. But for me personally, there's more to it than that. I genuinely love sharing what I've learned. I was fortunate enough at times to have people who mentored me and shared their knowledge when I needed it, and I would love to think that I'm paying it forward by doing the same for others. And I also think that now, more than ever, there's a need for the kind of stories I write and the lessons I provide. Storytelling as a skill has diminished in the past number of years. For the most part, our movies aren't as entertaining. Our books aren't as memorable. Even our video games and comic books have gone backwards in terms of character development, plot, and stakes. Cool concepts alone aren't enough. And sure, there are exceptions to all of these, whether books, movies, games, comics, whatever. But that's what they've become. Exceptions to the norm rather than the norm itself. In other words, the whys of what I do can be summed up in one single question. Why is good storytelling so important to me? Well, I recently did a video where I compared a random month in the 80s versus the same month this past year. And not only was the overall box office worse, but the quality of films produced was visibly lower. Less interest means less films making money, which means less quality films being made, which means less films in the theaters, which means less interest overall. And the cycle repeats until there's nothing left. And the worst part is, it all amounts to less good stories being told, less good stories shared, and less good stories being remembered. In short, more content than ever, but less good stories than ever. Now, do I think there are still good movies and books being made? Of course I do. But they are becoming exceedingly rare. And I'm talking about really great stories being told today. Original in some way, with captivating, active characters that undergo real interchange or who affect real interchange in others. With purposeful action, driven by those characters and not merely in reaction to the world around them. And with subtextual dialogue that peels back layer after layer to reveal inner truths that even they didn't know were there. With genuine conflict and significant personal stakes that promise to change the characters and their world in a profound and permanent way. Now, does it seem like in our crowded entertainment landscape, there's more of that or less of it? And what about AI, some of you might say? We've all heard how this elephant in the room will replace, or has been replacing, writers going forward. How it will produce masterful literature with the click of a button. Well, maybe one hypothetical day in the far future it might be able to come close to that, but not today, and not tomorrow or anytime soon. When it comes to creative writing, AI is great at reproducing what it has been fed. And it's great at doing so using flowery language to make it sound like it might be something new or intelligent. But it's just a fancy rehash of something already familiar, something someone has already said. And that's at its best. At its worst, AI spews content filled with mistakes and factual errors that is overly verbose and deceptively wrong. Too often it speaks with unearned authority that the uninitiated and ignorant take as gospel. What it boils down to is this: like any other computer program, AI is only as good as the person using it. And the best way for any writer to use it is as a writing aid, not a writing replacement. To brainstorm, check grammar and spelling, to aid in the rewriting process. Notice what I said there? The rewriting process. The writing part still needs the human element. The creation of great stories needs a human heart and a human mind, and the human spirit. None of which exists in the machine, no matter how lifelike it may seem. AI can help us to create our stories, but it can't create them for us. At least not very well. And that's the thing. Machines cannot create anything truly original. That can only come from you and me and all those brave enough and skilled enough to put a piece of themselves on the page or screen. That's where great stories come from. And that's what I want to see return. Because we need great stories to entertain us and inspire us and move us. Because it's how we progress as a species. Everything we do is through storytelling. How we entertain one another, how we pass on information, how we learn everything from language to history to science to math. And most importantly, how we learn about ourselves. It's all through storytelling. Stories shape us into the people we become. They are the all-powerful glue that binds us to each other and to our world. And the cold hard fact of it is, the worse our stories, the worse we are as a society and as a species. But the better and more resonant our stories, the better off we are individually and collectively. Bad stories make us dumber. Great stories make us smarter. It's that simple. So let's make stories great again. There is literally and figuratively no downside. But hey, these are just my 2 cents. Give me yours. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the state of storytelling, and if you think a pivot is required to embrace the techniques of old, but in a new and original way. And if you'd like to support this channel and see more of my work, please click the links below and check out my horror novel Iron Dogs, available in ebook, print, and audiobook, or my latest film, Spin the Wheel, out now on Tubi. As always, if you like what you saw, click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with the latest content. Until next time, stay creative.